All right, back at it we go. At Home with Gary Sullivan. Don't forget all 4 hours from yesterday's show. They are available wherever podcasts that you receive are. You can also get it on our blog. It's GarySullivanOnline.com. And you can get that link to take a listen if you happen to miss yesterday's show. It's all there for you. All right, joining us now is Ken Clark. He is our man about town, checking out hardware and building supplies. How you doing?
Doing really well, Gary. How are you today? How are things in Cincinnati? And happy Mother's Day to all the mothers in your life.
That's
to all
right.
the mothers in the lives of our audience.
That's exactly right. And a beautiful day it is here. I hope you're having great weather.
No, we're not.
You're not?
Next question.
Right. Well, we didn't have great weather all last week, so we're even. We finally got a nice day. So where'd your travels take you in the last couple of weeks? I know you were out and about.
We have. I had a little vacation, but I also was able to visit some. I went to Brooklyn, New York.
That's a happening town again, isn't it? I mean, that's big time. It's changing.
Yeah, that's where everybody wants. That's where everybody wants to live now.
Yep, you're right. You're right.
They used to be Manhattan. But now it's some of the hip neighborhoods of Brooklyn. And there was a flooring retailer, Floor and Decor, fast-growing company that had an opening down there, and it was just a tremendous. Like some of the more sophisticated retailers that we're seeing now, they just do a great job of creating a gallery-like setting to show off their products. It's almost like going to a museum. These city retailers, you know, they've got tons of foot traffic. They have tons of big projects to sell their products into, but it's a challenge. It's a challenge for parking.
Yeah,
it's a challenge getting there. It was tough you got to go up the highways and side streets. It's hard to get to, but once you're there, it was a really interesting retail.
So
operation.
How do they handle that, Ken? That's a really good point. I'll give you a little background. I remember I wanted to put a hardware store, and we ended up putting a hardware store in an urban setting, and parking was really tight, but we had an area where we could have created a parking space, but the building wouldn't be able to sit on the front of the street. It was going to be recessed. And the community group was fighting that, and it went all the way to council. And my point was very simple. We sell bags of concrete. We sell lumber. We sell bags of fertilizer. You need to be able to park here to shop here. But, you get into a lot of cities now, and some of these stores, even building stores, they're 2 stories, and parking, there's a parking garage. Do they do more delivery, or how do they handle that?
Yeah, delivery. It's a higher degree of difficulty operating in some of those really tough industrial urban areas, or any urban area. It's a higher degree of difficulty. Sometimes there's no parking. The retailer will depend almost entirely on the walk-in traffic and the delivery. I know a Marjam, a big industrial supplier in Brooklyn, one of our pro dealers of the year a few years ago. I went to visit them, and they had a person whose whole job was to facilitate the handling of parking tickets for their delivery folks. But it was worth it for them to invest in that type of position, because there's a lot of business to be done in those big cities.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I agree with you, too. Creating that whole atmosphere you were talking about, almost like a museum, to create like little mini cultures inside the store, which I think is really cool.
You could live in some of these showrooms. We were just doing an article about our friends in McRae Lumber. They're in Kansas City area. They have they have a facility there, many acres. But when you walk into that showroom, it's just an amazing upscale experience. They've got a door there that one entry door for $35,000. Now that's on the high end, Gary. You might be able to afford that. I can't. Most people can't.
That.
But I think it's there just to inspire people what's possible, and they say it really, having that showroom, even in this age of the internet, when you can go online and see it, having that showroom is very valuable to them, for people, probably your audience. Yeah. You want to see it and feel it before they buy it.
Yeah, it's like when I went to Signature Hardware, which is pretty much an online dealer of crazy things. They had like a marble banana-shaped bathtub. I forget how many pounds that thing weighed, but it was gorgeous. And I'm thinking, like, does somebody really buy these, or
Well, I'm
is this just
intrigued.
to
I'm
inspire?
intrigued.
Yeah, I'm intrigued
I'm
too.
intrigued.
Yeah. So
So,
that's cool. So yeah, what a change, because you go to different hardware stores. I mean, you talk about an urban one. I just had somebody send me an email, and I don't have it right in front of me, but when you and I were talking a few weeks ago, I mentioned Hartville Hardware and
oh,
Blackhawk Hardware in Charlotte, and somebody said, "Have you ever been to XYZ Hardware?" And it was in Northern Ohio, and it's an Amish built hardware store. So you get rural hardware stores too. Is
oh, absolutely.
And he was talking just how meticulous and perfect this store was, and big.
Hartville. You mentioned Hartville. That's a fantastic store. I've only seen photos, but it's giant. They have entire
Oh, it's
walk-in
massive.
houses
They do.
in their facility. That's a big do it best dealer there
Yeah.
in the heartland, and they've won all kinds of awards. We love to see that kind of investment in
Oh
the
my
retail
gosh.
format because
Nicest family, all kinds of relatives working there. We broadcast from there a couple of years in a row.
really
It was so much fun. It was so much
a lot of
fun.
a lot of retailers do that, don't they, Gary? They set up a radio shop on the perch in the store and just
Sure.
talk about home improvement.
Right.
It-
Right.
they don't reach your elite level of quality information, but they approach it. No, they're really good.
Yeah. No,
Um,
they sure are. But yeah.
there's a fantastic urban chain in Washington D.C. They call themselves a few cool hardware stores. They have a wonderful story about hiring people in rehab and giving people a second chance. It's really kind of a fantastic story of just caring for the community.
Yeah.
Like I said, giving people a second chance. You can
Are,
check them out online.
are they affiliated with someone?
They're an Ace dealer.
Ace dealer.
They're an Ace dealer.
Okay.
They're few cool hardware stores.
I'd like to check that out. Power equipment, man, I'll tell you what, I'm even looking for a couple lawn and garden power, battery powered equipment, and I see all kinds of buzzwords, brushless, agronomic. What's going on with all this?
That's a hot category. Those power tools. That's probably you might agree, that's the glamour category for hardware. It's not easy because you can buy those online. You can shop online. You're competing with the biggest retailers.
All right.
There's a huge move towards battery power, electronic. All the big companies, steel.
Well, they're not giving them away yet. I know that.
Stanley had its earnings call this week or last week, and they emphasized their push towards electric and battery powered products. So yeah, there's a lot of competition, but it's P&P, it's price and platform. If you've already went out and bought a Makita drill and you're now shopping for a sander,
Yeah.
and this one battery is going to do both. They gotta get you early. There's intense competition. Competition in the power tools to get you early, get you on their platform, and get you to buy more products.
Yeah, I went to the lawn equipment expo in Louisville last year, and man, they had every representative I've ever seen, and that's what it was all about. Get them on the platform.
Yeah.
Get them on the platform. And some of these lithium-ion batteries, I just ran into this week. If you let that thing go dead, the charger doesn't recognize it to charge it.
Mm-hmm.
You ever hear that?
That'll probably be the time. Platforms.
Yeah.
There's an opening there.
Yeah. Well,
I've had good luck with my lithium-ion batteries. They've lasted for.
Well, it's just that if you
years.
just don't have one on the charger and you use one and that one goes absolutely dead, that charger won't charge it. You have to use the other lithium battery and connect two wires in it and literally jump start it to put enough juice in it so that the charger recognizes it.
I bet most people will just go buy a new one.
I think so, because that happened to me. That's how I found out about it. And it was a DeWalt 24 volt, I think, DeWalt for my drill. And
but another big trend. Oh, sorry.
And so I had literally let them both go dead, and I had no battery power. I started figuring out what was going on. And you're right. I'm going to have to buy a battery to jump a battery.
That's a counter too. But Gary, another big trend, this was from the Stanley earnings call, is storage, tool storage. There's a lot of really cool mobile, portable systems where you can store your tools. They're not just back in the corner of the garage on some permanent drawer system. They're mobile now. They're modules. You can put them in the truck, and there's just some really cool systems out there to store these power tools and the batteries that go with them. So,
that's
look for
interesting.
more of those.
Are they more used for in the garage, or more used for having a mobile where you can get them in the truck?
They look like they look like stackable. I think Tough Built has one as well. They look stackable modules with really smooth drawers. They're just getting more sophisticated than just a box that comes apart.
I have to check that out. That's why we have you on, so we can learn about all this cool stuff.
There's a lot of them out there. You buy a tool, you want to store it properly.
Right.
That's what we found.
Right. You know, when we were talking about agronomics of using tools, I remember it's probably been 10 years now, maybe even more than that, when they started bringing out tools for women to use that were more agronomically pleasing for them. Maybe their hands weren't as big or whatever. And is that still a thing?
I think that's less a thing. The tool doesn't know who's using it, a man or a woman. And on Mother's Day, let's strike a blow for equality and equality of the sexes when it comes to home improvement. If it's good for a man, it's good for a woman.
Yeah,
and
I think that to a degree, what they've done is they've just incorporated them, made them gender neutral. You know, I mean, a lot of your lines have all different agronomic sizes and weights of tools. Sure. It's a choose as you please, right? That's what I thought was going in there, and it sounds like that's true.
They're getting lighter all across the board too. People like whether it's a man or a woman, a guy person out on the job site after 8 hours of holding a tool,
right? The
lighter the better.
Well, there's no questions. I got some of the original generation of battery Troy built blowers. That battery it's got to be 6 pounds, as big as my 2 fists put together and about 12 inches long. It works, but they got the same power now, and the batteries are, 80% lighter, I'll bet you, from that one. So,
but would you agree that this is the glamour product, the power tool section of the hardware store?
It sure is. It sure is. And outdoor power equipment, too. I mean, hanging around with my buddies now, they're asking me about all this, and it's like, I go like, well, do you need one right now? He goes, no, I just want to get one. And I started with a blower, and I haven't got a mower yet, but it's on my list. My old gas-powered Toro's about 15 years old, and I've got the answers to get one. And that's just the way it starts, too. A guy goes, oh, man, I got one, but my mower's only 5 years old, but I'm still going to get one. It is definitely the glamour.
It's a difficult category.
Yep.
It's a difficult category, but everything worthwhile in this world is hard, Gary. Everything worthwhile.
Well, I'll tell you what, though, there's going to be enough demand for that just because it's new, it's fancy, and everybody wants one. Yeah. I think for a while there'll be room for everybody. And I think from a consumer standpoint, your point is well taken. Think about the platform because you're getting married. You're going to be with it for a long time.
Yeah. Shop well.
Yep. Hey, thanks a bunch for joining us today, Ken. I appreciate it, and we'll chat again.
Great to talk to you, Gary. Have a great day.
All right, you do the same. Thank you, my friend.